when you look at Meta and you list out all the products, it can feel a bit overwhelming or a bit confusing. And so a lot of our team's job is to make sure that people understand the value prop for each of them. So let me take you on a little tour. Let's go through each of them and how I see it. So Facebook, start with the core, of what built the company. It really differs depending on your market of how people use Facebook. So we've seen a transition of certain younger audiences in developed markets to Instagram for their primary social needs. But if you look at developing markets, let's take Africa, for example. Facebook can still be the portal to the internet for these markets and still really, really matters. So we're still seeing it as that town square where people can have that fan group experience that was very original and kind of OG to Facebook.
That's right. Yeah.
It's also a place where you use your real name, your humanity. It's something that's very true to you and has a lot of legacy value that I think people love. So we talk about it for sports organizations of here's how you can grow your audience, here's how you can host long form content. And we are seeing a bit of a resurgence in markets like the US and Canada of younger people flocking back to Facebook.
Oh, interesting.
Which is really encouraging. So we're trying to build features that feel a bit more native to that and create that.
That's actually
experience.
interesting. That's news. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's important. The other thing on Facebook, I think, as well, is it's still a place where you can create direct monetization, more so than the other apps that Meta offers, frankly. So we launched a new unified monetization last year. And so you're now rewarded less so from if an ad appears against your content as a pre-roll, and more of all the engagement you're generating on the platform, we reward that with monetization directly. And so there's a lot of organizations making very decent cash from being able to host their content on Facebook. So it's still a place where you can make that direct revenue.
And you're deciding the formula on what how the monetization works compared, like what are the inputs into that formula?
Yeah. So it's I'll give you an example. I think previously it was tied to, for example, a pre-roll ad against a video. You would get a revenue share of that, and much more actually how YouTube operated. So it'd be directly tied to the product. But then what you're missing out on is, number one, when you launch new products, how do you reward creators for using those? And I think, again, at YouTube, we saw a struggle on that because the long form monetization was really good. But when Shorts was launched, a lot of publishers said to us, but hang on a minute, this bit doesn't monetize as well. And so
it's cannibalizing.
Right. So therefore, I'm not incentivized to use it. Whereas what Facebook says is, look, we will decide how valuable the products are. And so even if you're posting photos that are getting engagement and bring an audience to Facebook, we'll reward you accordingly.
Interesting.
So it's a sort of a smarter way, I would say, a little bit less obvious and transparent of like, this video gives you this revenue. But you can still understand how you got your check at the end of the month. So that's really encouraging. And in my first few months talking to partners, they are impressed by what they're able to do there. And look, it's never going to be, or at the moment anyway, it's not going to be the revenue that dramatically changes your own revenue lines, but it can stop you being a cost center as a content team, or it gives you more cash to invest in your content again. So there's a bit about Facebook. Instagram is the obvious next place to go, which is the backbone of Meta at the moment. You just have to look at the earnings calls to understand how big that's become as a part of the company. The audience numbers are impressive. You've got 3 billion people coming back every single month to use the app, which is
crazy.
Really broad reach. And people really tap into that to grow their audience. I think things to know about Instagram. So it's a video platform now. So over half the viewing is on videos, which if you think about the humble beginnings of Instagram, like it was a photo app.
Photo sharing,
And even now when we work with Formula One, for example, or their drivers, they're very interested in the photo experience, and it is still an app where you can have that really nice photo experience, and it does well. But it was interesting to me that the majority of time now is Reels.
Interesting. So it's Reels, not just through the feed, video on the feed.
Exactly.
Got it.
So that's been really popular. I think one of the things we're encouraging people to think about with Instagram is how to be a bit more, I talked about earlier, a bit more raw. And I think there's still a misperception that to succeed on Instagram, you need to be very polished.
Shiny.
You need the grid to be just the way you like it. And look, we get it. It's a premium product. But actually, the creators we see having success are being a little bit more open, a bit more relaxed, a bit more behind the scenes. You'll now see the footballers through the work that we do with them doing their monthly carousel, of like, here's what happened in January. And those photos can be really, or videos can be quite raw and quite basic of just what they've been doing around with their teammates. this stuff I think is doing really well. So we're really trying to encourage athletes especially to think about how they show their hot takes, how they relax a bit more into the platform and put more content out, even if it's raw. So that's a big change. It's a place where we want people to show their creativity.
Yeah.
And then, whole host of features launching through Instagram. So edits, for example, less relevant maybe for the sports industry that has developed production tools. But for creators, this is a great opportunity where they can edit stuff on the fly, link it to songs that are trending, etc. And then all of that's powered by AI in the sense that the recommendations should get smarter and smarter.